A photo is going around of the craziest NBA transformation of all time. I'm talking Defensive Player of the Year Evan Mobley went from this to this. Meaning he goes from Kevin Durant to Giannis Antetokounmpo in one offseason. What is going on? Well, a ton of NBA blogs picked up on this. Even the New York Times, through The Athletic, did a podcast calling for a drug test on Evan Mobley.
What?
Watch out, maybe he'll score 50.
Hang on it. Whoa, hold up. I know NBA drug testing is not really the most stringent. We got to check this guy. This is amazing.
That can get you a little test.
It looks like he had a little test.
That was a pretty good line, but here's the thing. The photo is fake. Do you want to know what Evan Mobley actually looks like right now? Oh my goodness. This is, by the way, from Evan Mobley's official Instagram account, where he is on vacation with friends at Turks and Caicos. But the Photoshop AI whatever looked so good that it fooled everybody. I mean, the New York Times mentioned this.
Fake news, folks. Fake news.
But since it's fake, I had to delete an entire video that I made about what does this mean for the Cavaliers. I mean, Giannis level Mobley? Maybe the NBA Finals. Because last year, this team won 64 games, second only to the Oklahoma City Thunder, but didn't even make it past the second round, dude. They got slammed by the Pacers in 5 games. They were down 41 points halftime in game 4, the biggest playoff deficit of all time. So from a 1 seed to just as fake as this Evan Mobley picture. So were they a fraud, or do they bounce back this year, especially with Lonzo Ball now sharing point guard duties? You know Lonzo wants to prove how good he can still be in the NBA. But before we get to all that, what is the craziest NBA transformation of all time? And I know this is a little bit all over the place, but it's the offseason, so give me a break. Well, we all know about Nikola Jokic's chubby pictures as a kid, but do you recognize this man? This kid is about to become an NBA All-Star, All-NBA, and a champion. His name is Marc Gasol. Notoriously heavy and slow entering the NBA, but looks can be deceiving. The Rockets had a chance to draft Gasol, but made a huge mistake. The Rockets staff had given Marc Gasol a nickname: Man Boobs. And Daryl Morey allowed the general ridicule of Marc Gasol's body to drown out his model's optimism about Gasol's basketball future. And so instead of arguing with his staff, he watched the Memphis Grizzlies take Gasol with the 48th pick of the draft. Oh, and it turned out old Man Boobs would look like this just a few years later, dominating the NBA. But I do think that Nikola Jokic was even more shocking. I mean, do you remember when this photo on the left came out? I legit remember thinking that it was a fake photo during the pandemic. He is so much skinnier than before, and it allowed him to quickly reach peak Jokic, winning MVPs and a championship. But the one thing that those transformations have in common is fat loss, not muscle gain. Every offseason, in fact, we see guys like Luka Doncic or James Harden lose a bunch of fat because that is physically possible, but it is impossible to make a transformation like that fake Evan Mobley picture in one offseason. That's why the best muscle gain story ever, Giannis, took 4 full years to go from a toothpick to a Greek god. But the most exciting thing about the Evan Mobley picture is his next leap would have to be Giannis level, because dude already made the most underrated leap in the NBA last year. In just his 4th season, Mobley achieved Defensive Player of the Year, his first All-Star game, All-NBA, and all defense while getting votes for MVP. So dude went from none of those accolades to everything all at once. That's like going from a top 50 player to a top 15. Do you know how hard that is? Oh, I'd say actually the next leap into top 10 is even more difficult. Why? Because you have to pass some very good basketball players. So according to The Ringer, the current top 15-ish are Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham, but then Mobley would have to pass up Kawhi, KD, AD, LeBron, Wemby, and Jason Tatum to get into that top 10, or have some of the current top 10 here drop way down. So do you know what kind of second leap Evan Mobley would have to make to become no doubt better than those other guys ahead of him? And that is why I was so excited about this body transformation, because we might be on the verge of seeing the next super duper star in the NBA in the making. But is there a chance he does it anyway? And by the way, why were the 64 win Cavs that bad in the playoffs? Well, after a dominant 1-seed regular season, the Cavs destroyed the Miami Heat in the first round. I mean, none of those games were even close. It was embarrassing. But second round, injuries hit. The Cavs had a banged up Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Donovan Mitchell, their 3 best players. On top of that, the Pacers were just humming by that point, with Tyrese Halliburton hitting step-back game winners in Game 2, and a killer defense that held Cleveland to just 30% shooting from deep. But this coming season, the Pacers aren't back, the Celtics are gone. I mean, Pacers and Celtics lose their best player to a big injury, and the Pacers also lose Miles Turner to the Bucks. I mean, the East is going to be so weak. Who is Cleveland's best competition for the 1 seed? The Knicks? No offense, they are good, but they're not exactly the KD Warriors, okay? But Cleveland actually, over the Knicks, have one huge new advantage. The site Hoops Hype calculated projected wins by opponent when the schedule came out. 100 is league average, and the Cavs have the easiest schedule in the whole NBA. They literally only have 1 month all year that is projected as league average or better. Everything else is supposed to be a cakewalk. Part of that is being in the East and having a weak schedule. I mean, check out a team like the Pelicans in the West, who have 5 of 7 months well over 100. And yo, if this is right, the Pels are about to get off to a horrible start and could trade Zion by Christmas. But to make noise in the playoffs, the Cavaliers will need Mobley to take that top 10 leap. We know that the body transformation is fake, so what other kind of transformation can he have? Well, dude already won Defensive Player of the Year, which is great, but his offense is the real story. Dude was much more aggressive at the rim last year, and he developed a 3-point shot. Before December 5th, Mobley made under a 3 per game at horrible efficiency, but then something changed in that game against Denver on December 5th. That game and the next, he hit 9 of 13 from deep and finished the season shooting 38%, which is amazing. So if somehow he can maintain that, great, but to be unstoppable for that top 10 player leap, Mobley needs ball handling. His one offensive weakness is depending too much on Garland and Mitchell to create for him. But if Mobley could create for himself, get into his shot quicker, he could take that Giannis leap that we all thought that photo showed. And now, obviously, he doesn't have to get jacked to handle the ball well. That doesn't make sense. I mean, just look at Kevin Durant, okay? He's an offensive genius, nicknamed the Slim Reaper. But it is fun to think about Mobley making some kind of transformation because his potential as an NBA player is one of the most underrated storylines in the league next year. But speaking of Kevin Durant, dude wants a max contract from the Rockets, but they are not playing ball. How do we know this? Because no extension has been signed. And we all thought, hey, whoever trades for KD is immediately going to get him a new contract. So far, nothing. So what does that mean for Durant in H-Town? Is he going to make things uncomfortable? Because one thing we know about KD, this dude ain't afraid to speak his mind, and that could mean bad things for the young, hungry Rockets.